What's up, folks? Tito here. Now, this thing, you want to come up here, bud? Say hello. Come on. Up. Come on. Hey. You good? You got your screen time? All right, get off. No, for real, get off. All right, so real quick. All right. I typically don't like to make these videos. I think I use it more of a life lesson in the world of collecting. But before I get to that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed to me. I think I reached 300. I'm fairly certain I did. So without you guys, I obviously wouldn't be here where I'm at right now. So again, thank you. Thank you. Now, if you hear some background, that's Comic Phantom. You know, I like having background music. But anyways, right? Life lesson in comic book collecting. Let's go with the comic shop edition, right? So I heard some whispers in the wind that there's a new shop that's opening up, and new shop. Let's do this. So I went there yesterday, anticipating, just your average shop. Nothing too crazy, but I will say that I was surprisingly pleased at the quality of the books, the quantity of the books. And you're doing something right when you look at their wall, and their wall matches your collection. Because it was actually pretty funny. I looked up there, I was like, you have my collection up there, right? But there was a book that I saw, the clouds opened up, the sun came down, beaming down, and it was shining, right? Rainbow was there. It said, Tito, come get me. I was like, I got you. So I started talking to the owner. He was the owner. I would like to call this shop one of them. I don't know if you guys use this term, but it's like I use high acidity. Again, it's quality versus quantity. So you're looking at a different tax bracket when trying to purchase some of these books that he has there. So I was looking through the back issues, and I mean he has a pretty good amount of back issues. This guy has graded toys. I'm not too much into toys, but I do know when I see a toy that is of high value, I kind of have an idea. And this dude had some big boy toys. And I went home, and I think I called David up, and I was like, "Hey, man, this is what I'm thinking. I think Grayson's mad because he's thrashing his teddy bear right now. I guess I'm supposed to be giving him attention, but I was like, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think?" And yeah, we kind of, what is it called? He was my conscience, and he was being the devil's advocate of things. And I was like, okay, well, in order to get some big boy books, I got to push some books. And I might not have the best books as far as monetary, no $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 books. If you want those books, you go to Rag 718 and a few others in this community. I'm that dollar bin hunter kind of guy. So, right, I was like, okay, in my head, now this is where you guys can jump in and say, Tito, this is where your thought process is wrong. Because this is probably, I think, the first time that's actually happened to me, and probably the second time in my collecting era. Let's go with that. So I was like, okay, so I want that book. What am I going to give up for that book? So I start going through my head, okay, let's add this, 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 this. And to tell you how much that book is worth, or he was asking for, I took about 70% of my collection. You know, A, because I want to downsize, and two, that'll probably equate to what he's asking for that. Now, mind you, I threw some how do I even try to explain this? Some books to seal the deal. Let's go with that, because if depending whether it's monetary or sentimental value, you know, if you want that book, you're going to get that book, and whether you're going to take a loss on it or you're going to take a win on it, it's just whatever you feel comfortable with. So I feel comfortable with taking an L to get that book. So I go up there, I pile up the trunk, and I'm like, all right, this is gonna be easy. I'm like, this is by far way more than what this guy has up here. And I get up there, I was like, I reintroduce myself, we start chit-chatting. I know one of the guys that work there, so I know at least one person in that shop has some crazy amount of knowledge on books, whether it's Silver Age to Modern Age to variants. If I had a shop, that's the guy who I would want to work with, or want to work for me, because he knows his stuff. So he was like, I told him, I was like, hey, I want that book, no cash, and I will trade what I have for that book. And he's like, well, how much do you want for your collection, cash value? I was like, I don't want cash. I was like, I strictly do trades when stuff like that. He was like, okay, well, let's go look. He started rifling through, and he saw the books that I have, and he was like, you got some books there, but I don't know if he wants to trade that book for all these books because of, the amount of time it would take to get his money back. In the back of my head, I'm like, dude, if you really wanted to get your money back, honestly, you probably get this collection, and you probably get that money probably a quarter more. That's how much I was going to take the L on this. So he was like, well, let me go inside and talk to him. All right. He comes back, he's like, yeah, we're probably not gonna do that, but we were interested in selling your collection. Stop, Grayson. Buying your collection. So, curiosity killed the cat. And I was like, okay, what are you willing to sell it for? Buy it for. So I try not to eavesdrop to, when it comes to finances and stuff like that, because first and foremost, before you sell your books or want to trade your books, you have to understand what the value of your books. And it's not sentimental. This is a $2.99 book, right? Harley Quinn, what is this? Number 10. All right, cover price $2.99. Sentimentally, hypothetically, I can value this at $25. All right, monetarily, what, a dollar book now? $1.50. If you're thinking about reselling, if you're thinking about, trying to flip or whatever. And to be honest, the only reason why I got this book is because the Christmas theme. All right, Christmas theme and Batman. That's the only reason. So, understanding and putting aside your personal value on those books versus, I guess you could say, the retail value, or stepping into the shoes of, who you're trying to sell it to. So for instance, if this was a $20 book, hypothetically, a $20 book, and you wanted to go to a comic book shop and sell it, you're obviously not going to get $20 because the shop needs to get their money back. So you're lucky if you get $5 for this book, right? And that's a cash sale. $5, I mean, you get more than what you pay for it. I mean, that's if you bought it for cover. So what, you got $2.01 more? But that's not how the game is played, right? You want to sell this book to a shop, they need to make their money if it's a $20 book, so they're not going to invest a whole lot of money in this. Okay. Also, following along those same lines, I can guarantee you probably 99% of the time, the books on their wall, they got it for 3/4 of that price. If it's a $100 book, they probably got it for $25. Or they bought a big ass collection, 8 boxes, they didn't know what they had, they spent $400, $500 on that box. And they pulled out a $300, a $129, a $44, all those crazy numbers. And that's essentially how the shops work. And I hate to use the term lowball, but they will lowball the hell out of you. And that's where I got reintroduced to the term lowball. All right, I'm going to throw this number up there. Let's say the book that I wanted was $8,000. Right? It retails about $8,000. I had to come up with $8,000 worth of books plus more to give them that extra bite, right? Because at the end of the day, what they want. They want to make money. This is the problem that I have. I'm not selling you a collection. I am trading you a collection. A collection that is fair market value, the same as that book up there. Yeah, you might have 20 books for that book, but you can sell those books independently and upcharge whatever you want to, right? So they came back. So let's say the collection I brought was worth $8,000. Let's hypothetically, actually more truthfully, probably about $8,000, right? And mind you, they rifled through the books, some of the slabs that I had. You know what number they gave me? They gave me $2,500. Man, if I didn't laugh so goddamn hard and walk clean out, actually, I like smiled in the inside, and in the back of my head, I was like, who the fuck do these people think they are? You might have some gullible folks that don't really know what they have. And mind you, I know one of the employees there at a business level because I've done business with him back and forth. So he understands that I have somewhat of an idea of what to look for, what to get, and stuff. But when they told me that $2,500, right, the guy that I deal with, I looked at him and he was like, no, right? I was like, fuck no. And that's for selling. And I get that. That business model, I get it. That's why I don't sell books to shops, because they will take 75% off what it's worth so they can make their money. All right. Why they chop it down so low, I'm not entirely sure. I don't run a business like that, but I would think in my humble head, if there's a $20 book, I don't think I would go that low for $5 to try to buy it. $10. Leave a little bit of meat on both sides, but don't be greedy. And I was leaving, I was like, I honestly cannot believe they gave me that number. Because they told me themselves they go by GPA and they tack on 30% on what GPA, has it at. Cool. If you're dealing with somebody that doesn't know the value of that book. Again, value is all subjective, whether it's monetary, sentimental. Basically, those are your two basic values when it comes to the book. How much is that book valued to you, and how much is that book valued to somebody else? That's simple stuff. But I watched Don the Comic Book Junkie, and I'm not in no way saying that his shop chooses to do business like that, but when you are in a world where a book can be bought a click away, you probably don't want to upcharge 150% of your books. All right, find the deals. Bring customers in. If you have a high overhead, or if your rent space is so dang much, you should have thought about that before selling it. Because if you're selling a $10 book for $60, I could almost guarantee you your business is going to fold really, really quick. Again, it's solely dependent on how much somebody's willing to buy it. Like for me, I was willing to take a hit for that book. But that's the way I think, and I'm sure a lot of people think like that. That's probably why these comic shops are getting away with upcharging the way they upcharge, or lowballing the fuck out of you when you are trying to sell a collection, or lowballing you when you're trying to do a trade. Because here's the deal. When a shop gets a collection, and I don't mean no disrespect if I am belittling you, and that's not my intention. I guess my intention is more educational. So if you already know this, then good for you. If you don't, then listen up. All right. Most shops, when they buy their collections, right, they typically run a motto of $15 to $50 a long box, unless somebody knows what they have in there, and they might price it up just a tad. So within that $15 to $50 long box, let's say there's an ASM 300 in there. Let's say the ASM 300 is, I don't know what, a $250 book. So they just made their money back off one book, and they still have the rest of the collection to go for. So with that $250 book that they have, they now upcharge it to $280, and take that same collection that they bought from $15 to $50 and put a $3 price tag on a long box. Not to say that all those books would sell, but let's get real. 10 books out of that, they made their money back, and now they're in the positive. And I hate to say that comic shops are crooked, but when you look at the totality of all the comic shops around the states, you're starting to see a very, very steep decline. And why is that? The rent's probably too freaking high, which causes their books go super high, which then they can't compete with the internet. You know, the store exclusives, the eBays, the auction houses, you know, all those on-site comic book shops. Now, do I like shopping at shops? Yes, but I don't. For this reason, that's why I don't look at their wall books, because they try to fuck you. You're going to make your money back plus some over a longer, maybe a longer period of time, and all just for what? Because you got that book for $200, you're selling it for $5,000, and then try to buy a $8,000 collection for $2,500. So everybody's fucked except for you, right? I don't know. That really bothered me. There are some shops here that I go to when I see wall books, and they are good to go for book as long as they maintain the same monetary value. I've done it, and I probably will continue. I won't sell to no shops because of just how their business motto is. If it's $100 book, you probably get 15. Just be smart when you go and try to sell stuff. Understand what your books go for, not from here, but from here. All right. And you wonder why shops are going down. Because some of these piss poor business models of trying to buy high-end dollars for low-end so they could triple it. I mean, I guess it ain't dumb, right? They're businessmen, they're trying to make money. But they can't make money if we don't go.